I've been donated a few clips by Liberation users, and I'm going through them and just making sure they kind of are neat and tidy and maybe done in the best way. Lots of things have changed in the clip editor, and honestly the documentation up till now has been pretty sparse. So there's some things that have been done that maybe aren't the best. So while I'm going through some of these clips, I thought it'd be useful to share with you like my tips and techniques, and just so you can learn a bit more about advanced features. Anyway, these clips kindly donated by Fabio Lanzoni. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Fabio, but thank you so much for donating them. They're going to be in the default clip deck along with lots of other free stuff in the next release. Anyway, let's go in and edit this clip. So you can see it's quite a complex clip. There's a lot of nodes there, and that's probably because before I had the custom oscillator here, if you wanted like lots of specific color things to happen, you'd usually make lots of them and just turn them on and off using the brightness node. But we can do things a little bit better now. In fact, let's just slow down the tempo so we can see exactly what's going on. So here you can see that there are two nodes. If you look in the preview down here, you see there's one line going horizontally and one going vertically. Bit impossible to select that. There you go. If I click on that, you can see the two together. You see they're turning on and off with this square wave oscillator. So the square wave is coming on at the beginning and then off for the rest of the time. So it's making sure that these two are only on for 1/8 of the time. So, and then so on. So this one comes on for 1/8 of the time, and then these two come on for 1/8 of the time. And then these two, and then these two, and then these two, and then these two. So what I'm going to do is rearrange this so that there's only actually one source, and that we can change the colors using the custom oscillator. So I'm going to just make, the other thing is I think there's a lot of these kind of scale nodes which might be required, because when you're trying to connect lots of nodes that are far apart, it can be difficult. So let's try and get rid of as much of this stuff as possible. So I'm going to start by just recreating this. So I'm going to actually turn off this. In fact, I tell you what I could do is I can move it out of the way so I can use this as sort of a reference in the top left corner. So now I'm going to copy this. I'm not sure what size that ends up as, but let's just do it by eye. Let's have a look. What do we think? Is that, well, let's do it 50, a nice round number. Then I can do another one, the same, also 50. And this time I can rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, so we've got our single cross. And now I'm going to change the color of these lines, like I said before, using a custom oscillator. So now let's have a look. What colors do we have? So that's yellow and blue. They're all full. Are they all full saturation? It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it. So I'm going to go through and try and copy these. So it's so complicated when there's so many of them. Oh, is that one's been switched off, is it? Did I just do that? Probably I did it, probably. Okay. Just try and see what we've got here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, let's take the horizontal one first. I'm going to set the saturation to full. Then I'm going to make a custom oscillator to adjust the hue. So at the moment, now how long, let's just see how long these things take. 2, 3. So it looks like an 8-beat pattern, a 2-bar pattern, I think, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're a little bit out of time as well, and I think that's because of the way that Fabio's had to do this. It's very difficult to get these to be a very exact position. Okay, so it's a 2-bar pattern, so I'm going to set this to be 2 bars. And I want it to change 8 times. So the way that the custom oscillator works is that it has, you can split up the duration into multiple steps. So I'm going to actually split it up into 8 steps, and it should be 8. So, and it's split up into subdivisions of like 64 subdivisions. So if we were to do like split it up into groups of 8, then that should give us the values we want. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. Oh, it is 56. Excellent. So now we've got values that we can adjust like 8 times, and because we want it to snap, we're not using any easing at all. If we wanted this custom oscillator to have like linear changes or ease in out, but in this case we're literally just using it to set the different values. And then the range at the moment is 0 to 50. Let's do that 0 to 255, so we've got the full range of hues within here. And you can see already our line is starting to change colour. So now I just need to match the colour in the custom oscillator with the hues that are in these up here. I'm going to have to slow it back down again, I think. So now I'm going to go through each one of these and check the hue and update it. So what I'm doing here is I've actually enabled the timeline, because that way I can actually control the position in the animation that I'm looking at. So it's just easier for me to control which section I'm in. So I can move it to the first beat here. And now when I adjust this custom oscillator here, I can actually see the value it has in there. So I can match it up here with 40, and I can adjust this until that level says 40. So there you go. Now I'm going to need to move to the next one, the next beat. Okay, now you can see I've kind of got the same colours happening, but this time just with, well, essentially 4 nodes rather than all of these. So the only thing left I have to do is add this movement oscillator, which adjusts the X position. And there you go, we've got our clip in just these 5 nodes. So now I'm going to delete all the others. You can just click on them and press the delete key. All right, let's do the next one. I should probably save it as a copy here. Okay, here's an interesting one. So you've got this this sawtooth like affecting the width, And then to get rid of it, this square wave is just turning the brightness off. I feel like we should be able to do this in one. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to duplicate this. Let's move that one down a bit. So I believe, is that happening on the... So it's coming in halfway through, so it's on the sort of offbeat. Okay, so I think we can do this all with a single sawtooth. And we'll set it on the size. So what is the maximum size here? It's 240 roughly. So let's make it go from 240 to 0. And there's a lot of tools in here that we can use to sort of change when this happens. So if we bring the clamp up to like 50%, or I think it's a bit faster, isn't it? But let's just do it 50. We can always change it later. You can see now it's closed for half the time. But it's out of time with the other one. So let's then bring in an offset. You can see now it's sort of in time. They've also got an ease in on theirs, so let's add that there. So yeah, I think now we've got that exactly the same, just with 2 nodes. So, you know, this is absolutely fine, but this is a good demonstration of some of the power of like clamping the value and offsetting the value. This is so cool. I would just never think to do this, but because there's 2 flashes of yellow and there's a zone delay that's shorter than the sort of gap between the 2 flashes, it makes this sort of interesting step backwards. Let's have a look at what's inside here. This node is changing the brightness of this, so you can see it's, or rather the hue, it's changing it from blue to yellow. And you can see it's doing that twice a beat, I think it is. What's it set to? An eighth. Okay, so it's set to an eighth. Yeah, so twice a beat. And then it's using this sawtooth to actually turn that flashing off for the rest of the time, so it's only on for the first 2 times. Yeah, I think that's pretty... You could possibly do that with a custom oscillator, but I think this is absolutely fine. Okay, this is pretty much fine. In fact, it is fine. I'm just going to see if there's another way I can do it. There might not be, but let's just try. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to see if I can do it with the dotter. So with the dotter, you can actually specify sort of spacing, and then if the length is auto-divisible by spacing, then it will always be like an even value between that, so you can get the start and the end. So then I can also keep the original, but then I can also change the color of the dots, so I should be able to match it up with that 151 hue. So yeah, sometimes it's good to use the dotter for saving, you know, that then saves you the trouble of making lots of different components. So it's a little bit more efficient, but it's absolutely fine the other way too. To be clear, these won't change how it performs at all, but hopefully this demonstration will show you some of the techniques you can use. Probably the same on this one, huh? So the important thing with the dotter is to keep the original shape underneath. Turn on auto divisible, and then you can adjust the color of that end bit, and the hue again should be this time 240. So yeah, you can change just the color of the dots with this hue, saturation and brightness. So yeah, I think here is probably a valid use case for this technique of turning the brightness on and off to make things jump in and out. Yeah, I don't think I've got any improvements here. I think this is fine. So there you go, that's Fabio's clip deck cleaned up. Hope it's been helpful. If you want me to do more of these, well, I've got some more clip decks to clean up, so I probably will. Catch you later.